3 out of 4 silent theaters lose patrons to sound houses, poll shows. By Ernest A. Rovelstad. Exhibitors Herald-World, June 29, 1929. 3 out of 4 silent theaters throughout the United States are finding that sound in other houses is pulling their patronage away from them. That is the story which is told by the exhibitors reporting in the Herald-World survey on sound. That proportion is indicated in all classes of theaters, from the smallest houses to those seating upwards of 1,000, though the number of silent houses in the latter category is now comparatively small, as was shown in last week's issue. Indeed, that ever-growing number of wired theaters is definitely tied up with the fact of the comparative gravitation of attendance toward houses having sound, the reports indicate. It is that loss of patronage, as well as the prospect of increased attendance, that hastens the installations, according to the replies to the questionnaire. That proportion of 3 to 1 is a conservative figure, in the light of the total of silent theaters which made no reply to the question, "Is sound in adjacent towns drawing patronage away from your theater?" In an appreciable number of those instances, the replies to other questions indicated a decrease in business due to sound in other localities. On the other hand, there are many vigorous statements that sound in neighboring towns not only has not decreased attendance, but actually has added to it. Several factors are advanced by the exhibitors who maintain this view. The most frequent among them are the following. Increases of admission prices in houses adopting sound have been met by patrons in some quarters by a switch of allegiance to the silent house. Makeshift devices have diverted attendance to the silent theaters in a number of instances. Imperfect installations have brought a similar result in some cases. Certain localities with foreign elements report no change in patronage with the advent of sound. The exhibitors in these centers state that the reason is twofold. The patrons do not understand the dialogue in sound pictures, and they cannot afford to pay higher admissions to sound houses. These cases are reported from mining towns and from factory centers of either small or large cities. There is also the type of report in which the exhibitors say that their patrons return from the sound houses with the comment that they do not like dialogue pictures, that there is a strain in listening to the voices, or that the voices do not sound natural. However, these cases are the exception, with far the greater number showing patronage veering to the wired theaters. To attempt to quote here from all those who expressed themselves on the question of changes in patronage would take many pages. Rather, we have taken representative replies on both sides of the question, attempting in each case to cite a reply which carries a distinctive phase. Compelled to install sound. We are entirely surrounded with sound houses, and are compelled to follow, writes an Illinois exhibitor. But an Indianan says, "I am located within 18 miles of blank, connected with paved road." So far, no decrease in patronage, although that city has sound and talking. Have had but one inquiry as to when I would install talking equipment. My competitor had a talking outfit for 4 weeks, but has taken out same, states another Illinoisan. Business did not justify it. And along the same lines comes this from a New Jersey exhibitor with non-synchronous equipment. My patronage has increased 20% since competitive houses have installed talkies. An exhibitor in Washington State puts it this way. There are around 60 installations within 50 miles, and many of our patrons go to these theaters. Very few of them are satisfied, and a vote taken among our employees to ask if they want sound pictures installed here shows less than 2% asking for them. But another Washington State exhibitor says that the downtown houses are getting the people. An Idaho theater owner says that attendance on sound pictures is not as good as it was on silent pictures, but he attributes that fact to the raising of his admission prices. Public demands sound. An Indianan declares that, "The other show here has sound, and I have the crowds, unless he has on a big special." And a Minnesotan, "Enjoying normal business with silent pictures." On the other hand, a Texan has this to say. While very few of our patrons are being drawn away by sound, the nearest sound is 70 miles distant, we have suffered a heavy loss in attendance, due no doubt to a great extent to the fact that we are showing silent pictures, and are therefore no longer up to date. And Arkansan writes, "My business with silent film is practically as good as it ever has been," but he adds, "I expect to put in the talking pictures as soon as things quiet down."